Dermot, what you said?
I was just complimenting my brother on his lovely adornments.
For anybody who's listening and can't see it, switch the video for 10 seconds. Jimmy's got a Christmas hat on. He's got dangly balls in his beard. Not the first time I'm going to say that sentence, maybe not that. And the rest of us, by our new special guest, are wearing our Christmas attire for Christmas special that Dermot clearly didn't get the memo for.
Corinthians attire? Close enough?
Yeah, close enough. We'll respect it.
So here we all are again. It's Christmas. It's the Christmas special, and it's a very special Christmas. I for one am delighted that my little brother is here. I'm always delighted that John is here, and I'm always delighted that Gary's here, and I'm absolutely delighted that I'm here. But it's wonderful to have you with us, Dermot, for the first time on the StatrCast.
I know.
I shouldn't ask, should I? How has your season been?
Quickly, before we jump into that, happy birthday to Gary. He's old now.
Oh,
my apologies. Happy birthday, Gary.
That's news to me, Gary. I thought you've been old for a while.
No, wise, Dermot. Wise, not old. Wise.
Very good.
Jimmy, as you were.
That's my excuse, anyway.
Happiest of birthdays, Pep. Our sometime illustrious leader of banana throwing and mayhem and mischief. Gary has been part of the league since the very, very start. As funnily enough, all of us have been here since the first season with a minor holiday for the young one. And to be fair, there's a game rules and there's numbers and there's matches and there's football. But anybody with a crowd of lads playing fantasy football knows that it's all really about the shithousery. And Gary has been the master of that for over a decade now. And here's to you, Pep. You're absolutely brilliant at this.
Thank you very much, sir. It is the main reason why I'm part of this league. The shithousery is at a very, very high quality level, I have to say.
Here. Jimmy, give us the lowdown of the league.
So I thought this week, for no reason at all, I would have a look at the table from bottom to top, because whoever's on top doesn't really matter. I mean, that's not really what it's all about. We're currently, a record has been set by Kim. She's now on an 11-game losing streak and has 6 points from 16 games. It's not going well, and that's all there is to say about that. Next up in the Harrison division is Gary on 15 points after not a great old patch, not a great old winter. Took an absolute kicking from Damo this week. Lost by 70
15
points.
wins or 15 points?
15 points.
15 points.
Okay,
5 wins from 16
just checking.
games.
Yeah.
And then
Although
it gets
one of those
interesting.
wins was against you, Dermot, 2 weeks ago. So I'll just,
Let's definitely dive into 2 weeks ago if you want, Gary.
Okay, we're in.
Since it is your birthday.
Well, let's dive into it if we want to.
Sure thing. Week 14. Week 14 was fun. That we had the illegality of Draft Punk with their cheeky striker midfielder for Villa. Week 14 was a win for Dermot, barely over John. But win for Dermot barely is kind of a pattern that we'll come back to later on. In the middle of the pitch, we've got 21 points each for Draft Punk, My Rasta Shoots, Old Republic, and the beautifully named Spit on That Wang. Fourth place are John, hanging on like some sort of dingleberry to the playoff spots on 24 points, and now only 3 points from 8th place.
I am berries.
Oh, adorned with berries. You couldn't make it up, except he just did. 33 points. Dave the auto pick in 3rd place on a 2-game winning streak.
Okay,
Next is, I feel, the most interesting of the squads on 36 points now with a winning streak of 6. And honestly, with 3 points going the other direction, 3 different weeks, leading the league on 45. That's not how it played out, though. It's me in 2nd place. And in 1st place, having now lost 2 games this season, the one he lost to me, and most recently, who did our Dermot lose to?
Gary, I believe.
It was, I believe.
Gary and John, wasn't it? Gary, John, and some guy in Merseyside.
And it's interesting to find that you 2/3 of 50% of the people on this podcast have beaten you this year, Dermot. How do you feel about your disgraceful performance?
So, for the listeners who don't know me, because as you correctly pointed out, this is my first appearance on this. Honestly, what's a lovely podcast, might I say. First time, or long time, first time, if you will. If you don't know me, I've been top of our league since about December 2023, consecutively.
Yes, I'm champion.
Sorry.
You didn't get the final last year, did you?
You didn't get to the final and
No.
win the final last year.
No. Just the best at drafting, the best at managing the team,
Yeah, but
and the one who everyone's pissed off with come playoff time that other people like to make the deals to try and help the other guys out, you know?
but yeah, you don't
I
get.
think that day is done.
So that makes you what? Arsenal?
I mean, it makes me Arsenal for the last 2 seasons. It makes me I guess Liverpool for a few before that.
Close, but
And,
winning.
and how many trophies did they win?
Always going to be there is the point.
Always going to be there or thereabouts. So,
Yeah. I mean,
Always the
bridesmaids
bridesmaid,
and-
never the
yeah,
bride.
there you go.
whoa. On this call, I am not
Having a problem.
bridesmaid. Let's be honest, all right? Gary's the bride, but I'm the fucking groom. You two, you two are the add-ons.
If anybody on this call is the bridesmaid, it is Jimmy. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Um,
true. It's true.
You're still the Arsenal of the league.
In any
I will
case,
be silver all over my face and my hair before I win gold. I know. It's my lot in life to come second because I'm
Never win
actually the one you all like to work against. Says your man with the crucifix and the ton of trophies. We've discussed this at great length. But yeah, the league it has started to settle table-wise. Things have chilled out a little bit. The winning teams are winning more. The losing teams are losing more. There aren't that many kind of brackets losing teams. Gary, you're having a patch. I'm sure you'll come good. Kim came in for a couple of weeks, had a couple of disasters, but there's a good morass there in the middle of 5 teams between.
I think there's I think there's great potential for this year. A lot of teams to have a lot of strong points totals at the end because all of a sudden, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine who's a Liverpool fan. All of a sudden, there are like 25 difficult matches for good teams in a season. You know, it's no longer 6 tough games for the big boys. It's like all of a sudden, Forest is a tricky 2-leg affair throughout the season. You know, Fulham, Villa. I think points are going to be high this year in general.
Yeah.
It was grim for a while. We had a few weeks where I thought it was going to be shit, and 3 of us were playing and no one else was playing. But yeah,
I mean, they're the top 3. We are still the top 3. 4 is the 4 who are playing the most. But you're right that the overall points is really interesting. Someone has broken 2,000 points already after 16 weeks, which would be a big, massive humble brag. Except you're all not far behind. I'm on 2,000. Dave's on 1975. Derm's on 1880. John, you're on 1538. But once you go outside the playoffs, the next one up is Jack. 1,508 points.
There was even a point where I think I was something like 9 matches in, having won all 9, and the points difference was not at all drastic. You know, people are scoring well this year. There's a lot of dark horse players this season.
That feeds into your point around how there's like 25 matches that are difficult for teams this season. If you actually look at the point scoring, you've got players from Wolves, you've got Cunha from Wolves, who Monster, fair enough, but let's see how much of a ban he gets. You've got Mbuemo for Brentford.
Yeah.
All of these lads, you know, Bone, who was thereabouts, fair enough, but he's in the top 10. And you scroll through, and it is not full of City, Chelsea, and Liverpool players.
Champions League players. Yeah.
We actually,
you know, you could probably pick the top 4 players who have scored so far the highest, but outside of that,
we
it's
actually
actually
did our
fair.
team of the year so far last season. Or last week, we did our team of the year so far, and for United, only Bruno made the squad. For Fulham, Robinson and Iwobi made the squad. Dwight McNeil made the squad.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't Kevin De Bruyne, it wasn't Bernardo Silva, it wasn't Ruben Diaz, it wasn't Andy Robertson, who's
having a shocker.
But anyway. Past it now, but regardless,
but I think that's
people are stepping.
I actually think that's I don't want to use the word genius, but let's just use it anyway. I think that's the genius of Dermot this year, and hats off to you, Dermot, because if you look at your team, there's players in there outside of De Bruyne and Son. You kind of go maybe or maybe not, but you've picked up the likes of Chris Wood, Dwight McNeil, even Damsgaard.
Well, so Dwight McNeil, let's talk about Damo for a sec. Worst trade of the year, and it doesn't matter what happens. He gave me Dwight McNeil for week 7, Christopher Nkunku.
Yeah, that was
Kim gave away Watkins and Welbeck.
And Declan
But
Rice.
at the time,
And
McNeil
Declan
was the 8th top scorer in the
Yeah.
competition, and Nkunku was on the bench in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And no
I-
indication whatsoever that McNeil will start to suffer. He is outstanding.
He's a Kim player. He's the player Kim has had every season and keeps Joe McNeil, Solly March, these kind of
Tarkowski.
guys that Kim always has. Yeah, these like really, really, really solid Premier League players that start every game, contribute for their teams, and just I don't know. It's just consistently always 6.8 to 7.4 out of 10. You know.
They do their job.
That's what's driving you on this season.
Yeah.
Is that?
I'm not gonna lie.
So what?
Before the season started, I heard a lot of good rumblings about Nottingham Forest when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah.
And I took a punt on a couple of their guys, and I listened to a couple of people, and a couple of those guys were like, get Murillo in your team, get Wood in your team. Their defense is going to be solid. Get Sells if you can. I made a mistake in the draft. I picked Carlos Miguel. I wasn't sure who was going to start in goal. But I also very nearly had the Forest goalie on top of everything else. Would have been nice.
So the thing with Forest is I have to put in another contender for worst transfer of the year was Dean dropping Morgan Gibbs-White because he got a
Oh my God, for a one-game suspension.
Oh, I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, he was just upset that he didn't have Fabian Schär at the time and needed to get him back as soon as possible.
Dean made one of his Dean transfers this week. He picked up a man who did an ACL last week. Like,
He did. It was,
Yeah, it was outstanding.
It was Fatu, wasn't it, from Leicester?
And it wasn't even recently. It was like 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. It was all over the news. And on the pitch, it was like his ACL is done. His season is over. Dean wakes up a fortnight later and goes, him. I want him. Yeah.
I want that one.
I'd love to just once. I'd love to somehow be there on a whatever it is, if it's a Friday night or a Saturday morning, just to see Dean's due diligence. You know,
His due diligence this week.
It probably looks like kind of just doing this and going.
like how many messages does he type in Discord before he goes? Oh, let me just make sure no one has them. You know, oh, I'll take Ederson. It's like, will you?
And lads, he's seventh, and he's comfortably seventh. Well, nobody's comfortably seventh, but he's not terrible. He's got 1,300 points.
He's actually having a better than usual year at this point in time.
Yeah, he's well up. Even this is what I'm saying about scoring. It's up.
Well, everybody
Tell you
from
what,
everybody from fourth down has a 50% record or less.
Yeah.
John, you're in fourth and you've won 8 and lost 8. Everybody below that has lost more than they've won.
I think I've beaten some people 3 times already, though. So the fixtures are still a bit convoluted.
See, I got fucked up that I had to play Dave 2 weeks on the bounce.
I have had a couple 2 weeks on the bounce as well.
And Dave is on a hot streak at the moment.
As your commissioner and IT guy and general overlord of the brackets, I can but apologise about this year's brackets. There have been several cases of simultaneous 2 in a row back to back against each other, which is fun.
I think I've played
again,
you
but
3 times actually, Jimmy.
There's definitely been a couple triples, yeah. But that's fine as well. It's kind of interesting in the sense that it's not planned. It's I know it's not random, but like it's not like anyone is getting an obvious benefit from this, you know.
Yeah. So listen, our league is in good shape. The table is healthy. The league is in good shape. We have a huge amount to get through tonight. So we should plow on past our own league into the real world.
I have a striker problem. His name is Marcus Rashford.
Everyone, John has a striker problem.
John,
tell us about your striker.
John, don't you?
Marcus Rashford. He made me sad. He said he's going to leave us. No,
Do you think he's going to leave?
Did you see his interview? Did you see the thing, the report that came out?
I heard, but I didn't watch it.
He's done.
But then since then, Amorim has said, "Oh no, we're better with Rashford. I want him to stay." That sounds like a challenge.
And he didn't travel to London for their match tomorrow. So,
but it's the League Cup quarter-final, right?
Yeah, but I'm throwing the toys out in the pram after not playing at the weekend. You'd have expected him to be in the squad for that. He's done, and it's retaining value. Is my
I don't know.
To the interesting. Go ahead, Pep.
I don't know if it is the end of him because his contract is up in 2026, I think.
With an option.
Yeah, with an option to extend, but it means he can't go anywhere for free. United, if they want any sort of value for him, will have to play him to put him in the shop window.
Mhm.
If I was you, John, I wouldn't be dropping him yet. But if you want to talk to me offline, there might be some business to be done.
We can definitely discuss because he's got
And
to
we
end
can
up for
definitely-
Arsenal pretty
Hang
close.
on, John. Don't you support Fulham? And don't you need a striker?
I do. Who'd you got? I don't want him. He's not playing.
Well, let's talk about it later.
I know the one you have, and he's the one that doesn't play football.
I've got sadly two of those, John.
This has turned into the Wheeler Dealer Only Fools and Horses podcast.
The Christmas
right.
sale.
Rashford. My question with Rashford is, let's indulge in John's notion that he is on his way out of United. Where does he go? Because to me, it's somewhere else in the Premier League or nowhere.
I
I
don't
think he goes abroad.
But who's willing to pay him now? You know, he hasn't been outstanding for a long time, and he hasn't been consistently good even very recently. His wages are going to be initially too high. Yeah, Paris maybe, or maybe one of the Italians might take a punt on him.
I think PSG or possibly Juventus.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
PSG has been sniffing around him for a long, long time. Wages won't be an issue for them. It's an easy league for him to play in. It's a lot easier than the Premier League.
And be a
He gets to live in, yeah. That's if PSG want to take a punt on him. What is he? 27, 28?
27.
27?
He's a good age.
He is, but that does go against PSG's new system. Their new Moneyball system where they want to buy young and develop and so on.
What about one of the Italians? That's like one of the closest leagues in Europe at the moment. I mean, you've got Fiorentina, Atalanta, and Lazio are all up there without major, big name players. McTominay's gone over there this season, having an absolute stormer.
Player of the season.
Napoli could be an option.
I think he fits on his left wing though, because Kvaratskhelia is there and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but Osimhen is moving on, isn't he?
Well, we've been saying that for 3 seasons. I feel like.
Well, he's on loan in Galatasaray now.
Yeah.
So
but it's till January, no? That loan, I thought.
It is only till January, and then they're going to move him on. I can see a part exchange type deal happening with Arsenal, where it's like one of those. What do United need? They need a left back. What are they going to get? Another crock left back to add to their collection in Zinchenko or Kieran Tierney. One of them will go the other way with a few bits of coin in his pocket. He'll get a sizable payoff from United, similar to what did the summer, and go, I won't go anywhere until someone pays the man.
I don't think he'll stay in the Premier League.
I'd rather he didn't.
That's the only place someone will be willing to pay him. By the way, Osimhen's deal is actually, his loan is until the summer.
All right.
So there is some opportunity there. I could see Rashford ending up on a stinky loan in West Ham or something. Aston Villa or whatever. Yeah, I think
actually maybe I'm an awful lot of sense. Like
maybe I'm getting
the gap that's just opened in West Ham. There is a big lad to put the ball in the hole.
Rashford's stock in my head hasn't been this low since he was literally 15, and he would come in on TV on a Thursday night, score a goal in the Europa League, and then you'd see him in school the next day playing foosball with his friends. He's I don't know. I understand the United factor in all of that, and he's like obviously United to the core his whole footballing career, so he's obviously in the thick of it. But he's not the player he was when he was in his early 20s, late teens. I'd be very surprised if, do you see another title contender in England, or any title contender in England taking him on?
Arsenal being the only one because he's better than Gabby Martinelli.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Oh, Martinelli, no, he's absolutely not a tap on Martinelli. He's not even as fast as him.
Yeah.
Let alone as good at football.
He might be a bit more reliable than Jesus because of injury, but
I'd take him over Sterling, who Arsenal also wasted some time on. Yeah.
But they're
an upgrade on
massively overcovered in that position. I mean, they have Martinelli, they have Trossard, Marino moves around. I don't see them shopping for him.
I'll move on from the Rashford thing there in a second, but here, Gary, you'll appreciate this stat. This is a Gary stat. So I looked at, myself and the lad Sean recently looked at, the conversation started, we're looking at who was the better player, Martial or Rashford, games played, goals scored. It turns out it was actually Martial.
It's
And
Rashford. It's Rashford.
it's not now. It's not
But
now.
but the better player, I mean.
Yeah, but when we actually looked at like goals and against
Mm.
games, he has the same record as Christian Benteke.
Really?
He
But
had
Benteke played for who in his career?
Benteke, who played for
across
Liverpool,
his whole,
Villa,
across his whole career.
across
No,
his
yeah,
time in the
that's
Premier
my
League.
question. Yeah,
It's
that's
the same. I think it was like Benteke has 6 more appearances than Rashford, and it's like 2 goals in the difference. So he's an equivalent record to Christian Benteke.
Yeah, but you've got to that's comparing apples and oranges.
yeah. Benteke was an absolute
Benteke-
flagpole of a target
Yeah.
forward.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
here's
Points
one
to
for you,
the south.
John.
There's
Here's
still
some
the same number
homework
of goals.
for over the Christmas for you, John. Do
No.
the same analysis. But look at goals and goal contributions,
I can do
goals
that.
and assists, and see who comes out on top. And I'd be fairly certain it'll be Marcus Rashford.
It wasn't. Because I remember seeing them and being disgusted by how low they were because he had 1 good year. And the rest of the year,
Rashford, you mean, had
Yeah.
one good year.
Yeah,
1 good year.
I've said for a long time that Rashford is overrated. He
I
was
thought he
young.
was on. I thought he was having a resurgence. Like, was it about 3 seasons ago? 2.5,
In the
3
30
seasons ago.
goals.
I thought he was going to come back strong, but no,
Yeah.
he's.
No,
I
I think he was
mean,
hyped from the start because he was young English.
mm. Also, if you
Which
look at the
hap-
success
which was
England have had on the
happening all
national level in the last couple of years, last 4 or 5 years, he's been more and more peripheral as
Yeah.
they've kind of improved their performance. You know, he was never key for England at all, which is crazy if you
No,
think
he
about
was he was regarded as the next best hope.
it. Yeah, but they have one of those every 18 months. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
True.
Having said that, wouldn't we all love just one of them? We haven't had one of those in 18 years.
Evan Ferguson is the current great white hope, and Nathan Collins.
Collins
Speaking,
solid.
Plays in Spain.
Collins is solid.
Yeah,
I-
but our hopes can't be defenders. Your next big thing is not allowed to be a defender.
This is Ireland. Our last big hope is Richard Dunn.
Oh, I've seen him score a goal. It was glorious.
Richard
Absolutely
Dunn.
glorious. Yeah.
Nice.
Back when City were in that sweet spot of they had a nice new stadium, but they couldn't win yet.
Yeah.
Wasn't an own goal by any chance, was it?
No, it was actually a 2-1 win against your beloved Fulham, John.
Oh, fuck you.
Mm.
I'm moving on this subject now. Anyway, carrying on about a day. So I want to talk about Chelsea because Chelsea have had some news this week, and this is a 2-parter because on one side, Mudrik's on the bag. He's in trouble. He's been a naughty little boy. And on the other side, are they actually good at football?
They're very good at football.
They're good at football.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer is so unbelievably perfectly made for what Maresca's trying to run.
Yeah.
It's like this is a huge exaggeration, but it's like when everyone was like, don't Guardiola and Messi just fit? Doesn't that system just fit this one guy who's allowed to do whatever he wants so perfectly?
Yeah.
And it's feeling like that. Like Palmer is ridiculous at opening up a play or open up a game and attack, whatever. Always from 4 seemingly different positions, different areas of the pitch in different scenarios. He always gets through not always, because there's a lot of fluff that he's still going to get over in the next few years. He overdoes something sometimes, but his ability to break a line and break a play open in a way that seems completely I don't see it. I don't see what he's about to do until he does it. You know, it feels like a lot of other people out there on the pitch also don't see what he's about to do until he does it. You know,
Yeah.
he's really fun to watch right now. They're fun to watch, but he is taking them to a whole other level, entertainment-wise.
Yeah,
at least.
His vision when you watch him on the pitch is second to none. It really, really is. And that ability, as you say, to find that space in between the lines. I feel it's not totally kind of Messi at Barcelona type situation where Messi was allowed to do what he wanted to do. Yes, he has a bit of license, but I think he has a license within a given system, which is, I suppose, again, the genius that Maresca has there. Chelsea overall, though, they're the dark horses for the league. And again, I predicted that they'd finish top. I think I predicted they'd finish second.
You did.
And
so at that point, though, if you've got them challenging for the league, and we're also talking about a team who have a player on the bag, I feel like those two things don't
go together.
I think Chelsea are really good. I think, yeah, absolutely. You have to talk about them in the title race right now. I definitely don't trust them to still be there in May.
No,
I
Well,
did.
but hold on,
Hold on.
would.
It's not the fun bag. It's the go faster
No,
bag he was on,
but
not
it is
not the
that
go happy bag.
But
Oh
look,
no, they have. I was reading about it today. It's a substance that is still over the counter in several countries in the eastern part of Europe, over towards Russia. It's performance enhancing.
so when he was on
So do you remember? Do you remember when Sharapova? Everyone all of a sudden was
Yeah.
interested in Sharapova. It's that. I wish I could remember what it was called. I could look it up and read it, but
medicine with ibuprofen.
Murder something or Mercadil or Murfadil or
can't
something
remember,
like
but
that.
it's the same thing Sharapova was on when she got done. Loads of countries over in old Soviet Russia and current Russia still go by it sports wise. Obviously, I'm not saying that legitimizes it and says it's not a performance enhancing drug. I don't know anything about that. My point is, that seems like something kind of conducive to a team that isn't all that serious.
Mm.
And not that he's out there doing something he shouldn't be doing, because it's not that kind of drug either. It seems like it's a kind of like performance enhancer. At least that's the point of using it for an athlete. That seems like a strange thing to happen at a team that's a serious team. Like, would imagine how surprised you'd be hearing about that from, like, I don't know, one of the young lads at like Curtis Jones a few years ago at Liverpool. Not a chance. Or even one of the young lads who came into Liverpool or City in the last few years. I feel like we wouldn't.
They
That's
wouldn't make
fair.
that error in the error of judgment in the first place.
Yeah, there was just better run structures around them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's fair. It's a fair point, but I think if you were talking about a player who's in their first 11 or even in their match day squad, outside of all of this going on, maybe it's a case of out of sight, out of mind for Chelsea. Now, I'm not saying that's right, but with the size of their squads, I mean, they have enough squads to cover all of the different competitions. Cole Palmer is not even registered for the League Cup or the Conference League, so he can concentrate on the Premier League. This is the size of the squads that they have. Maybe it's as simple as, Mudryk, you're not doing anything for us, so if you've done something, we're actually not too bothered because we don't need to concentrate on your health and well-being. I'm not saying that's right, but maybe that's the situation. And they still have enough of players there to challenge, even though they've got all of this stuff going on in the background. Is it a distraction? Absolutely. Is it something that that sort of noise you don't need at a club, particularly when you're going to be challenging on all four fronts, which Chelsea will be?
Yeah.
Does it derail their title challenge? I don't think so. Because he's not going to be part of it anyway. And I think there's enough of players in there. There's enough of
It
experience.
doesn't matter.
Gary, I'm going to ask you.
Shield the noise away from it.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm sure you can't wait to be asked. Do you not think Liverpool seem a bit more serious and a bit? I see Liverpool as more serious, better run club, and like
100%.
special, and also they have better play. Like, if it came down to it, I would trust Salah to deliver rather than someone else on Chelsea, for example.
Look, I'm 100% on the same page with you there, man. Liverpool are, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Liverpool fan, but they are one of, if not the best financially run club in the Premier League. The American owners, for all of their faults, have made that club
Well run.
ridiculously financially solid. Any Liverpool fan will remember that not too long ago, administration was a word that was being bandied around under the Hicks and Gillette ownership. So to turn them around like that, so financially absolutely well run. At a management structure level, you'd say the same thing. I mean, Klopp, when he went in, put all of these different pieces in place from a coaching side. That continued under Slot now. And on a first 11 basis, yeah, I think I'd be backing Liverpool to beat Chelsea every day of the week. The problem you'll have is if Salah drops, which he tends to do, and we've spoken about this on the podcast before. Yeah. In January, he tends to hit a bit of a dodgy spot. Who steps in? Chiesa? Harvey Elliott?
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's nobody there.
Is there no AFCON this year? Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, but he's still even outside of AFCON.
No, he does always have a dip.
He does dip. And the question there is who steps in if Jota goes down again.
But Jota is key. Jota is
key.
So consistent.
But he's got glass legs. If he falls, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 injuries can decimate that squad for Liverpool.
Okay.
It's not the same for Chelsea. With the exception, like there's probably at the moment 2 players for Chelsea who are undroppable. Cole Palmer being one, and Enzo Fernandez, who John, like why you gave him away, but anyway.
Because he had done fuck all.
But they're the 2 undroppables for Chelsea. If Enzo goes down, Lavia is there to step in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Casado is still there as well. There's enough within that squad to drop to cover if
There is. And that was part of the reason why I got rid of Enzo when I did. He was out. By the time I moved him on, he hadn't played in 6 matches because Lavia was ahead of him. My issue with Chelsea at the moment is it's kind of like a vibes 11 is the best way I can describe it. It's a very young squad. The going's good right now, so it's all singing, all dancing, all rainbows. Everything's great in the garden. The problem there is you lose a couple of games. Now the Europa League squad is looking at the Premier League squad going, hold on a second, I want your position. You've got a bit more needle. And I think when it matters, when it comes to the late parts of April coming into May, that they've no, like last year they had Silva, who had been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, was a leader in the dressing room. They don't have that bottle in the team. Like Enzo is probably the closest one to it.
This is because they sold Gallagher. I
He's
don't
a
know what they
loose
were
cannon.
thinking from a leadership. He's a
Connor
leadership figure, and it worked.
Atletico Madrid, and I'll hear no slander against that transfer. He should be working under Simeone. He's an absolute legend.
Good for them, for him. Terrible for Chelsea, and that lack of leadership. I think John's absolutely right. When you're seeing like guys who've been at the club for 20 minutes and guys who were fucking 23 getting the armband, whereas last year it's Gallagher and Silva. Like, if it does start to slide and if it does start to go wrong, young guys are the ones that fucking freak out.
I don't think they have that in the room. That's what that would be my point. I don't think they have that in the room. They don't have a.
Well, that's their biggest pitfall. This is all pitfall for them. But and I'll go on record. I don't think they're going to win the league. I don't think they'll win it. I do think they'll go very close. I said it before. I think they'll finish second. I think they'll finish second behind Liverpool.
I feel like everything we've just all said, all of us, is just like, yeah, they're going to finish 4th. They're going to. They're like.
Oh no, City are going to finish 4th. I'm still hanging my hat on that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure of it. Champions League next year. Wait and see.
City. If we're talking about City,
do we have to?
My mind is blown.
Oscar performances for Kyle Walker.
Fuck me,
prick.
Did you see how I loved the punditry bit when they went back into the room and Roy Keane was on one, and Micah Richards, who's a mate of Kyle Walker's, tried to defend him. He's should be ashamed of stuff. I don't even know him.
But
Micah Richards just was like a little child.
Tried to defend him. He tried to defend him by arguing he's better than that. And it's like, no, mate, he's clearly fucking not, because he did that just now, and we all watched him. That was absolutely shocking.
Did anyone see Rasmus Højlund's troll?
Roses are red, violets are blue. Manchester is red, and the Oscar goes to or something.
Something like that. It was brilliant. What was it? Manchester is red, violets are blue. What a brilliant performance! But the Oscar goes to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's all calm down though, because we definitely don't want to start praising Man United or anything like that.
No,
they don't. They're also really bad at football. I've watched a lot of Pep in all the places he's been. I've read a lot of books about Pep, and this is unbelievably exciting that he might lose his job. I don't think he should lose his job. I don't think he will lose his job. But I can't believe we're actually talking about the fact that he might get fired.
He could be next.
If it was any other man at any other club, he'd have been fired days ago.
Exactly. He would have been fired days ago. He's not going to get fired. I mean, even in the world where we're talking about football management, it seems beyond fickle. It's cutthroat. You got to deliver no matter what. You have to deliver or you're gone. If winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row doesn't get you, let's talk about it in the summer. Nothing ever will. And also, then you get into the whole aspect of those are his guys. A lot of those guys, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Ederson. I can go on. Most of the team, those are Pep's lads. They've been playing the same way for a decade. It seems pretty clear that bringing someone in is not definitely a solution.
The other question is, who do you bring in if you were to? We had
Yeah.
we had a very similar discussion with when we were talking about Ten Hag. I think it was John, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who comes in? Amarin was probably the number one choice available, and United have obviously tied him down. But who comes in?
I know someone I'd love to see bring their football to a team with the resources like Man City.
Diego
Don't say
Simeone,
Jose.
is it?
Marcelo Bielsa.
Absolutely.
Get him back.
Do you
Buy
know
him out
what?
of Uruguay. Get him up there. The
That
best
would
football
actually-
ever.
That would fit as a 2-year solution.
Oh, they wouldn't dare do it. Sure, we beat
They
them
wouldn't do
2-1 in the Etihad when we were in the Premier League for a quick skite there.
But they would never do that.
No, they wouldn't.
I think for me, we're getting into that territory though. Like if we're at 1 win in 11, like if it gets to 15, 16, 17, at what point does he even stand there and go, I can't fix this, I'm done?
Well, he's already started saying things like that. He's already said that his best days at City are behind him.
He does this though.
I don't know whether that's just hot air. It possibly is, and it could be mind games. But I've never heard him say something like that where he's gone, my best days are behind me. Other than when he left Barcelona for a break away from football and ended up at Bayern Munich 6 months later.
But he often ends up saying things like, there's a bit more, it feels a bit more like he's speaking kind of terminally this time, right? He's kind of like, maybe I'm on the down, but he often, if there was a tiny slump, would often, and I think it's some of it's bravado, some of it is mind games, where he'll come out and be like, no, this is my fault. Because he doesn't always take the blame. He's not like, some managers are just like, no, it's my responsibility. Oh, it's my fault. The players aren't to blame. He often would call people out when they need to be called out, but he'd call himself out as well. I feel like part of this is his own method
ego.
Not ego. Well, I guess it kind of is interlinked, but his ability to overcome the challenges, he has to do this dance with himself. He has to play mind games with himself to get the best out of himself. Because also, what can he do that he hasn't already done? Like, how does he motivate those people who've won everything? Money's obviously no object to any of them. I don't even want to think about all the backdoor money they all get at City.
Yeah,
they've won it all. They keep winning it all. They're playing the best football. They have the ball all the time. They're footballers who have possession for 78% of a game a lot of the time for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he can.
Maybe that's why he's talking the way he's talking. You got to hit the nail on the head there. Those players have won 4. A lot of them have won that 4 in a row. How do you motivate yourself to keep going? Maybe Pep realizes that you can't motivate that team to keep going, and it needs to be broken up. Ferguson was a genius at this at United, breaking up teams and rebuilding it. But he had, he had the desire to do that and keep going for 25 years at United, and he did it 3 or 4 times. Does Pep have the stones for something like that? I don't know, because he's never had to do it. He's never had to break up a team and rebuild it to continue that domination. Now he could, because unlimited bankroll, but whether he wants to do it or not, and maybe that's why he's talking to him. Maybe he knows that this City team and squad has gotten to the point where they can't go any further.
It's at the tipping point now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the players who have been part of that 4 in a row. De Bruyne is in his 30s and is starting to feel the injuries a little bit more. Walker, outside of his theatrics at the weekend, again, feeling the injuries more on a regular basis. Ederson wants out. I think he just wants a paycheck at this stage.
Yeah.
There's the centre back piece. I still feel he hasn't gotten it right, even if Diaz was a revelation last year. So Gundogan, you bring back in a 32, 33-year-old as your
replacement for himself. For himself.
Because they didn't replace him the year before, so he came back to replace himself.
Yeah. So maybe he feels that you can motivate this team. I still think that if Rodri was in that team, they would be 6 to 9 points better off than they are right now.
See, this is the thing about Rodri, is that people now, I think, are the conversation about, if Rodri was there, he'd fix it, is kind of deviating away from what it should be on, which is not the point. Isn't that if he were there now, he would fix it. The point is, if he had been there, they would almost certainly not be in the position they're in, because this wouldn't have started probably. Yeah.
I think
it's so interesting to think about the impact, especially when you're talking about a sport that's 11 aside, and one guy having such a potentially drastic impact.
He's incredibly influential. I think this year still would have been a step too far because you're trying to motivate a squad.
Mm.
But yeah, it wouldn't be. They wouldn't be. They would be again there or thereabouts. They certainly wouldn't be finishing fourth if Rodri was in the squad.
No.
May I make
Two words. Sean Dyche. Problem
I have a
solved.
better suggestion. There's a manager currently on the open market who used his previous
Don't
club.
say Graham Potter.
No, he currently used his previous club in the same manner of Vincent Kompany, playing his football to try show off to a bigger club while sacrificing the club he was managing at the time, Russell fucking Martin, who is available. And you have obviously
Next.
and then you obviously got O'Neill, who got sacked from Wolves. After
Sorry, are we talking about the same job?
No.
I'm talking about the 2 boys who got sacked. I was segueing, is what I was doing there.
Okay. For the record,
Great job.
I talked about one manager who was out of a job.
I'm far too passionate about this.
Manager that just left the job, and that was called a link.
That was a terrible link for the record.
Dreadful. I wasn't done talking about Man City, but anyway.
And it was so bad that we've lost Jimmy.
We've lost
he
him.
left in a
He literally just went. He just decided to go. Fuck this shit.
Your fucking segue broke my Wi-Fi. That was not smooth. That was not smooth.
And those went the unsmoothest transition in media history. Anyway, manager firings. How are we getting on Christmas? What a Christmas present if you're O'Neill up at Wolves.
Here's your PC.
Lovely payday and a
P45.
I mean, 5-0 is 5-0. And it wasn't exactly like Southampton had been good all season till they hit Spurs. They have been an unmitigated disaster. They have consistently been at the bottom of the league. They're not scoring. They're conceding a load. They're not winning. They're barely picking up draws.
But
They're not going to stay up. The damage is done. Like, they're not staying up now, short of a miracle.
But it's not down to. Is that down to the manager? Is that down to the players? Is that down to a combination of the two? I personally feel that every team that comes up needs to have a sense of realism about what they should. Let's be honest about what our expectations are coming from the Championship up to the Premier League. The Championship is the most competitive league in Europe when you take up every league into account. It is. You could stick a pin in about 15 teams in that league and go, they have a chance of either winning it or getting promoted. So for Martin to win the league last year, I think he won it with Southampton last year, if I remember rightly, and get automatic promotion was an absolute, it was a real achievement for him. That's fine. Does that necessarily translate into, success in the Premier League? No. And that there's been plenty of championship winners who've gone up and come straight back down. Is that down to some of the management? Yeah, it's also down to realism that your players are just not good enough. Ipswich realised that. They went out and got Liam Delap, for example.
But Kieran McKenna hasn't been so steadfast in how he wants to play football. He'll go, right, we're playing X, so we need to play Y. Whereas Russell Martin had his Southampton team went, Joe, what we're going to do? We're going to say we're Barcelona, and Aaron Ramsdale, who is a more old school goalkeeper, you're going to pass it 3 yards, and that's what you're going to do. And you're going to need to be both footed, and you're going to need to stand on the edge of the D of the box and be our distribution point. Now, our fullbacks, we're going to go up and play as outside forwards so that our forwards can tuck in. And when we're on the attack, we have a back three and a front five. And it's like, you're Southampton. What the fuck are you doing?
I can talk about Southampton. Southampton beat Leeds in the playoff final last year. And again, I've spent most of my life watching the Championship. Leeds fan, 16 years of hell, worth every second to have the greatest 3 seasons of my life under Marcelo Bielsa. Southampton got so lucky last year to get promoted. The Championship last year is the strongest it's ever been, as long as I've been watching it at least. Yeah. Leeds finished third with 91 points, I think. 91 or 90 points. Absolutely ridiculous. The teams who came down this year are weak compared to the ones who went up last year.
Yeah.
Or the ones who went up and they're in the Premier League now this season. Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. Those were very strong Championship teams. The ones who've come down are shit. It's Leeds again, it's Sheffield United, it's Burnley. I don't know. I'll be very surprised if Leeds don't go up automatically. But even just that one season, and this is where I'm starting to doubt some things I think, which is like, I've heard a lot of discourse, people like, why did they even bother sticking with Martin until now? It was evident he was doing shit in the Premier League, they need to get someone else. It's like, okay, but he got you promoted and he knows the team, and like, why would you switch before you have to switch? The year in the Premier League seems to really damage some of these clubs that come back down when it's a disaster, you know? Because you're seeing teams come back down from the Premier League now, and okay, you had some of them, like Leicester came down really strong instantly. Leeds came down really strong. Others are vanishing down in the Championship. And I'm starting to really wonder about what the best approach is for those teams. Because Leeds were in that situation as well, ultimately, where it was very clear we were going down with Bielsa. Yeah. Now, I was shouting from the rooftops, I'll go down with him. It's so much fun watching football. And I'd say a lot of Southampton fans are saying the same thing. It's tough when it's 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. But my God, it's fun to have a coach that says, all right, we're going to attack because that's what's fun to watch, you know?
But
I would staunch stick with Martin because, as you said, the damage is done. Is someone else going to be able to come in and bring them to life enough to survive in the Premier League? These days, I don't think so. The Premier League is so strong. And those gaps now are no longer like, oh, the big six is much better than everyone else. Like, yeah, true. But now the next six is so much stronger than that next 8. And then you get split that 8 into 2, the bottom 4 and the middle 4, like, oh my God, like if you compare Southampton even to a team like Crystal Palace, who I've been somewhat disappointed with this season. I was expecting Palace to have a bit more
stones in the tank.
Again, not even necessarily in terms of results. I thought they'd be a bit of a better footballing team this year than they have been. I like a few of their players. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is they are still so much better than Southampton, you know.
A quick check-in on the numbers there. You're understating it, if anything. The United, who, as we all know, are terrible, are 13th this year. They are 3 points behind 6th place. There's one game between 6th and 13th in the Premier League, whereas Southampton are sitting on 5. They're 4 adrift. Pretty much half their season is over. They would need to double their points output from the first half of the season to get to 17th.
They're crap.
I don't see it. I just don't see it.
No, Southampton are done. They are.
Southampton's goose is truly cooked.
Yeah.
The best thing that can happen to Southampton now is someone buys Adam Armstrong and the fans live vicariously through him for the rest of his career, because I do like him.
Good player.
Dibbling?
Or is he a flash in the pan just because
who knows, you know? Best player on the worst team for a few weeks. It doesn't strike me with inspiration.
Yeah.
That's fair. Jimmy.
John.
Jimmy.
So,
time.
You know what time of year it is? I don't know if my garb gave it away, but it's Christmas time.
Is it Christmas?
And for the last few weeks, we've been doing kind of different musical themes for the jingle to introduce the quiz. Last week we had slam poetry. The week before was hardcore punk. And the week before that was some sort of bizarre, kind of seductive, soulful thing. But this week... I've written verses.
Oh no!
Oh no! I thought it was just the jingle bells. No.
Oh no! There's a jingle. Okay, are we ready to unleash the Christmas joy?
Can I just say, John and Gary, and I guess everyone listening, at this moment in time, aren't you glad you're not related to him?
Not just this moment, Dermot, to be fair.
Not just this moment.
Okay, right. Okay. See, John, this is a segue, right? It's that festive time again. Oh, Christmas time is here. Santa John has got a quiz. It's filled with Christmas cheer. Will the champion beat Jim, or will Gary win it back? Let's find out what John has got inside his giant sack. It's the Christmas quiz, the Christmas quiz. The questions might be tricky. We know John likes his Christmas quiz to be extremely sticky. Do the quiz, John.
I take it all back.
That is a slow clap.
The greatest thing I have heard on this podcast.
That's the best song you've ever written.
It's the best song he's
It's
ever
not
written.
even the best Christmas song I've ever written, but more on that later.
I think we just had a Christmas number 1.
Yeah.
No. No.
Number
Okay.
2, perhaps.
Dermot, because you're new, here are the rules. There is a quiz. We have 10 questions and 10 questions only, unless there's the requirement for a tiebreaker, because I do have 11 questions written down. When it comes to the quiz, y'all shout an answer. If you are wrong, you are out, unless I say you are back in when everybody else is wrong. And
Standard quiz rules.
That's
So
about
basically,
it.
it's a
At the
quiz.
moment, that's basically how a quiz works, yeah. All right. Anyway, Gary's currently on top of the quiz, followed
False.
with Jimmy in second, and
Oh,
Dean
sorry.
where he belongs on bottom. Dermot, it's Gary's birthday. Don't let him win. For question 1, who was the highest scoring non-forward in Statter last week?
Bruno.
No.
A non-forward, you said.
Non-forward. Who'd you say?
Guardiola.
No.
Non-forward.
Non-forward.
I'm trying to remember what happened last week. I know Spurs happened.
Football happened last week.
What else happened? Newcastle happened. Was it Harvey Barnes or someone maybe? What's
Harvey Barnes, but
the other lad's name? Nanny
you're all back
McPhee.
in.
All right.
You're all
Jacob
back
Murphy.
in. Jacob Murphy, it was not.
Diallo.
No, it was not Diallo. Dermot, if you don't get it, quiz.
I'm trying to think your man from Newcastle. Gordon. Aaron Gordon. Or what's his name? Gordon.
No, Anthony Gordon, no. You're all back in. I'll give this one more round because this is fun for me. There's no real rules to this quiz. I change them as I wish.
I'm seeing that.
Is it Robinson?
Oh, Anthony Robinson.
No. Well, that made me sad, but he was high up the list.
He was way up this week. Great.
He was way up this week.
Must be mid-20s, high 20s?
He was high 20s, 28.25.
Is it Diallo?
No, Diallo's been said. So, Gary,
Oh,
you're
sorry,
the last hope here, and that's the question. I'm going to put you on a timer.
I'm trying to again think what I'm trying to.
3, 2,
It wasn't Porto, was it?
No, it was Lewis Hall.
What?
It was Lewis Hall.
Oh, okay.
37.25, just behind Ismail Lassar with 37.5, so 0.25 behind Sarr.
But Sarr's a forward, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's why I said non-forward.
It's always going to be from the team that had the biggest win. Almost always.
No, it's not.
Question 2.
It is. A lot of the time it is.
Question 2. Which US city is going to host the next World Cup final? I will.
Los Angeles.
No.
Atlanta.
No.
New York then. Oh, no. It's going to be Miami.
Dermot, you're out. There's no back ins until you're told back in. I
You
will
said there were no rules.
I will bonk you.
Is it
Jimmy,
Miami?
go on before we get to go back in.
It's Miami, isn't it?
It's not Miami. Go, you're all back in.
Chicago.
No.
This is the best quiz ever.
You're all shit.
Washington. Washington, D.C.
No.
Who have the big teams? Atlanta United have a big stadium. Oh, it's going to be in Texas.
No.
In fucking Austin, no?
No. I'm just going to tell you because you all fucking failed miserably and we're going to be here all day. New Jersey in the MetLife Stadium.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's going to
such
host
a
the World Cup final.
strange decision.
It's going to be in the MetLife.
I
Anyway,
thought they just
New York
put
is
it-
enraged.
As a New England Patriots fan, that makes me very sad.
Rough year, guys. Rough year.
Question 3, and it's 0-0-0. Who has made the most sub appearances in the Premier League?
Joe Pedro.
No, most sub appearance of all time.
Coming on as a sub, you mean?
Yeah,
Of
Gabby
all time?
Jesus.
All time.
Oh, of all time.
of all time. Yeah.
Most sub appearance. Probably. What about like a Teddy Sheringham
No, it's not Teddy Sheringham.
or
Ole.
No,
Gareth Barry?
No. You can't just keep shouting names, Dermot. You're out now until
Oh,
you come back in.
I think I understand.
Most sub appearances of all time.
What's the number though, John? Give us the total figure.
204.
Okay.
Fuck me. James Milner.
Yes.
My next guess.
Next
Great call.
behind James Milner
Leeds legend.
Shane Long and Peter Crouch
Schlong.
with 158 apiece.
Shane Long is a Reading legend, James.
Reading.
He is.
Not a,
but I will
not
never
a
forgive
Brighton
him.
one.
Liam Delap signed for Ipswich from which Premier League team?
Man City.
City.
Okay, Gary. You were first.
What?
Gary was first.
Yeah, I'm fucking kilometers away, thousands of kilometers away. You're obviously going to hear him.
On the internet.
Tell it to somebody who cares, damn it.
Well, just be faster then.
Just be faster.
1-0. Question. 4 questions and fuck me. This is going.
Whoa. 2-0. Thank you, James Milner.
No, James Milner. Sorry, 2-0.
Yeah.
Apology. Oh my, this is a farce of a quiz. Happy Christmas, fucking special. This is like a family Christmas dinner going on.
Yeah, this is like Monopoly.
Question 5. Career path question. I always love my career path questions. If you don't get this, I'll be disgusted, all of you. I have played for Manchester United, Preston, Real Madrid, LA Galaxy, AC Milan, and Paris.
Beckham.
Fuck off, Gary. That was mine.
It wasn't your hole, it was mine.
What? I was finished saying David, and you said Banks.
No, that's
Fucking shouting shit beers over there in Dublin.
not my fault. Your internet is shit.
2-1-0.
The points go to
John.
you.
Who's the point?
All the way. There,
Gary,
Gary's-
I won that one by as much as you won the last one.
You did in your hole.
This is why we need our own access, Dermot. Just saying.
Yeah, well,
always
this
gonna
is
be
like
like this,
fucking
this too.
a Mussolini quiz with Hitler on one team. Like.
De Bruyne has tied with one player for the most assists
Say it.
in a
Oh, yeah.
single Premier League season.
Thierry Henry.
Yes. Well done, Dermot.
Are you sure Gary didn't get that one as well?
Well
No,
done,
I'll
Gary.
let you have that one.
Fucking Egypt.
If you can tell me which year he did it in, I'll give you a bonus point.
2005.
No, 2007, because he should have won the Ballon d'Or.
No.
What is it?
I'll let the
Gary?
others guess.
Oh, it's actually part of the quiz.
I'm just giving a bonus point here because I'm enjoying the argument. It's bringing me joy.
I thought it was 2007 when they got to that. Oh, it must be. Yeah. Easy one, Gary.
Easy one, Gary.
2005?
2006.
No, it was actually 0203.
Was it, yeah?
Yes, it was. Anyway, question 7. I think this quiz is 2-1 and 0 over to Jimmy merrily on high over there. This
3. Thanks.
What do you mean 3?
You stole from me. Piece of shit.
So it's 3-1-0.
If two people say it at the same time, Gary gets the point, and also if he's second, he also gets a point.
Or if John, as the organizer of the quiz, says I got the point.
Put on a fucking jersey, ref.
Okay, what Premier League player has scored the most free kicks in a single season?
James Ward-Prowse.
What about Morten Gamst Pedersen, maybe?
No, it was James Ward-Prowse.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
back in the game, Gatches.
He did it in 2021 and 21-22. So he did it 2 years on the trot. Question 8. So Jimmy's now on the board. What's that? 2-1-1 or 3-1-1? Because I lost.
3-1.
You shut up.
2-1-1. I have skin in the game now.
3-1-1.
We've answered half the questions.
I have no idea what's happening anymore.
It's 3-1-1.
Okay, who is the only active player in the Premier League who has won a World Cup medal without having won a cap for their country? There's only one.
Who has won a World Cup medal without having won
Sub-goalie. Third choice goalie on one of the teams.
Willie Caballero, is it? Or something.
No.
I heard this.
So, World Cup. I haven't heard this.
I have heard this.
But
I don't know where any of the goalies are from.
World Cup without winning a cap.
Are we talking Argentina here, John? Are we talking that World Cup?
They have won a couple of caps since, but
Won a World Cup.
they won the World Cup with 0 caps to their name.
That's such a good question.
It's
It
a great
actually is.
question.
Hang on, leave this one with us for a minute.
Well, you're out till you're called back in, so we can leave it with you for a while.
I swear, next time I'm going to get it. The rules.
Me too. Me too, Dermot. Me too.
So it has to be a keeper.
It is a keeper. I heard this.
Does it have to be a keeper?
But I don't know where any of them are from because they don't get any
What about-
points in their stupid country colours.
What about Leno?
Great call, but no.
Is it Kepa?
No.
Oh.
Good call, no, but no.
Oh, well, then it could also be Robert Sanchez. Isn't he also Spanish? Was he sitting on a bench back in the day? No, he's way too young for that. Argentina, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is it though?
Is it Ruben Diaz for Spain?
No.
World Cup, you said. Definitely a World Cup and not a major tournament. It's not David Raya or something.
I said World Cup.
Oh, currently active. Never mind. I don't know, but this one's driving me crazy.
You got to tell us this one.
Are you ready to just be told?
Yep.
Areola, third choice keeper behind Larissa Mandanda.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
shit.
was,
Yeah.
That's funny. I thought of Areola. I was like, France. No.
Yeah. You're like better third choice goalkeeper than him.
Great quiz, John.
It was good. You just suck at questions.
I thought the Henri question was the best.
Was that the 10th question, John?
No, there's another. There's two more.
Oh.
There's two more questions.
There's two more. Okay. Go.
Maybe a third if we get to the dreaded tiebreaker, if we ever fucking get there at this stage.
Sure, how are we going to catch Gary? He's winning 7-1-1.
It's 3-1-1. If you get your finger out your ass and stop fucking bitching, you might actually get the next one. And then we get to go to a tiebreaker. But here we are. Tom Brady is the part owner of which EFL fucking football?
Birmingham.
Yes. Dermot gets 3-2-1.
Too slow, guys.
They also set the record fee for a player in League One, which is 15 million for Jay Sanfield this summer from Fulham. There's my
it's the worst anything. Not just the worst transfer, the worst decision made in football history.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for a player in the Championship.
I'll tell you something about Birmingham, though. The whole world laughed when they retired fucking 16-year-old Jude Bellingham's jersey.
Yeah,
They did. To be fair, they did.
And now look at him, Irish passport and all.
I was one of those people laughing at it.
Yeah, playing for the second best team in Madrid as well.
Oh yeah, you do forget you're in Madrid. Last question. If Dermot gets this, we actually have a useful tiebreaker question. Who was the oldest player to play in the Premier League this season?
James Milner.
No.
This season. He's not the oldest player of all time in the Premier League, just the oldest player this season.
Yeah.
Did Scott Carson get a game?
No. Good way to look at it, but no.
Great show, actually, to be fair. It's probably a keeper.
But I'd say there's a lot of old, bandy need lads at Southampton and Forest.
Fraser Forster.
Who?
Fraser Forster.
No, there's many keepers older than him in the league.
Yeah, but they don't be playing.
You'd be surprised. Not saying that's a hint or anything.
I don't know, and all I can do is stop
Johnny
John
Evans?
from winning.
Is it Johnny Evans?
No. He was high on the list, though.
Kasper Schmeichel? No, he's not still around, is he?
He's not still around. You all get one more guess, and I'm going to tell you. And I kind of don't want to tell you on this because then Gary wins the quiz.
Oh, hang on. Are we back in?
Yeah.
Ashley Young.
No, there's older than him. He was third.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Did Thiago Silva play a game this year?
No. Jimmy, you of all people will be fucking disgusted when you hear this one.
Vardy.
No. But he was on the list.
Where was he on the list?
Put us out of our misery, Jay.
Are you sure you want to hear?
Yeah.
You're
Go on.
Very happy that Gary's going to win the quiz by default because you don't want to have one more.
No,
round.
we'll do the tiebreaker as a tiebreaker to get to the tiebreaker.
Okay. But
Are we all back? Actually, are we all back in?
You're all back
Yeah.
in.
It's Fabianski. It's Fabianski, isn't it?
Fabianski.
Ah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Fuck's
30.
sake, how do you guess him in the wrong question?
39.
At some age.
You forget how long he's been around.
You forget. That's why.
Arsenal, remember when he was a youngster?
Yeah, like, and I the only reason I get it is because I fucking transferred him in this week.
Yep.
Mm.
30.
Who did you drop?
Kelleher.
Yeah.
Good call. And thus it ends with Gary, birthday boy and champion for at least this Christmas season. Well done, Gary. Well done. You get a little well done. And
I don't
thus
have my
ends
trophy here.
the podcast for the evening, I believe. That's
That
us, I
has
think.
been your podcast for the evening. Yes.
It's been wonderful having you, Derm.
This was
it's been
fun.
wonderful
I'll
having you, Gary.
definitely be.
And
Yeah,
remember,
it's
for
great having you,
more of this jolliment and all things football numeric, go to StatrDraft.com or follow any of us on any social platform. It's going to be lots of
Well,
fun.
I actually do a quick statter update. I'm going to give a quick statter update before we go.
A very quick statter update.
The quick statter update is we have reskinned the website. It looks all sexy, pretty like. And development has started, and more on that on another date. But we